my name is Busatio. I'm a photographer and I pretty much photograph everything. But my main niche is boudoir, but I also do weddings and some families for people I know. And I like to do creative shoots, but that's on my own time.
Well, I do quite a few things in Guelph, but mainly right now I'm running Taste deTours, which is a culinary food tasting and cultural walking tours.
My name is Dehne and I own a business called Minga Skill Building Hub, which is a hands-on reskilling school. So we teach all different kinds of homesteading skills, lifestyle skills, traditional skills. It's all about locals teaching locals. So the idea of it is to try and keep skills alive in our community and provide the platform for people that know a skill to be able to share it with the rest of people that live in Guelph and surrounding communities.
So my name is Hayley Kellett and I am one of the co-owners of The Making Box, which is Guelph's hub for live comedy and improv education. And what I do there is I'm the director of the Improv Incubator Program. So I facilitate all of our educational courses. So if you wanted to come and sign up for an improv class and join us every week to learn the fundamentals of improv, you'd be talking to me first. I'm also one of our lead instructors. I help Jay Reed, who's the leader of our Improv for Business section, facilitate those workshops in a professional development setting, as well as probably another 1,000 things that happen at The Making Box. Judgment is such an interesting thing for me. The world that The Making Box lives in, the world that I come from, this improvisational world exists in a no judgment zone. And it's all about acceptance and it's all about inclusion and welcoming all ideas and every idea. So I've done a lot of training on getting rid of judgment and especially self-criticism and not putting too much value on the judgment of others. So that's not so much of a big deal for me. I will operate the way I operate regardless of whether people are judging me. And that's the message that I'm communicating to my students and that The Making Box is communicating to our clients. That should never, judgment will never stop me from moving forward or changing or adapting the way that I think is important. It's not a factor. I don't think it should be a factor.
I'm kind of at the point right now where I'm of age where I don't really give a crap about a lot of what people think about me and what I do with my work. I have run into naysayers and people that have put me down for the type of stuff that I do, but it makes me happy and I don't want to stop what I do.
I feel like I would step into it more. I feel like I really hold myself back in the fear of failure. That if I were to take a risk like rent my own building and my own space, or to start creating videos that I could share with the world. But I'm so afraid of failing that it really stops me sometimes. That I find that I can get stuck in my comfort zone and where it feels safe and comfortable. And it's also lonely and isolating. And I would do that differently. I would remove that fear.
Oh, that's a very hard question. I'm not sure that I'm guided by concern of judgment. It could be an age thing, I'm not sure. I probably am, I'm human, but I almost don't know how to answer that because I don't actually feel like that's in my realm of reality. Probably daily, but I think possibly in the attempt to try and create these custom and private tours, because I can be someone that's, you know, I can offer you this, I can do anything, we can create tours together, which is true, and I will. But the doing of it, you know, is not as easily done as it is said. And so, well, that's not a problem, and it's more an exciting piece of this new business. It's definitely been pushing me forward at trying to create new products all the time.
I don't know, I'm pretty comfortable with what I do.
You know that.
I'm pretty comfortable with being around what I do. Like, I'm around half-naked people on a day-to-day basis, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. I think the last time was maybe a year or so ago when I did a photo shoot for a gentleman that wanted specific things, and it was a little uncomfortable, but we got through it. So
When did I last push the boundaries of my comfort zone? Outside of when I let a stranger pie me in the face on stage, or all the other weird things that we do for shows like Duo to the Death, where we're intentionally messing with each other on stage. That stuff, all the time, constantly. But I mentioned that I have very little business backgrounds. My dad and my mom opened up a chain of franchises, and I've watched them be entrepreneurs and follow their own paths through business. But I never took classes, I'd never done anything. It was all kind of through eavesdropping. So coming to Guelph and having to run a business and be aware of all of the math that needs to get done, all of the financials that need to happen, all of the planning and structure that comes behind all of the fun stuff we get to do every day, that took me out of my comfort zone. And taking classes took me out of my comfort zone. Putting myself in a room where I had to talk about budgets in an articulate and intelligent way was new for me, and not something I was comfortable talking about before. But now I feel like I can navigate my way through those conversations. But it's still always a little bit out of my comfort zone, which is kind of what I want already. I feel like if you're not a little bit afraid, then there's no risk, and if there's no risk, then the reward's not as fun. So there should always be a little bit of boundary pushing no matter what we're doing.
When I decided to quit my full-time job after I had my son and step 100% into my business as my job, as my career job, as opposed to using it as a backup. It was always something I did part-time, and then I worked full-time, and I decided to just do this. And it was really scary and really awesome. Yeah. I just recently, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I just recently asked for help from Innovation Guelph. One of the things that I'm struggling with right now is trying to find a financial model that is sustainable for myself, because my business is a little bit different than traditional business. And so I am incredibly passionate about what I do, and I understand my passions, and I know how to connect people together, but I've struggled with how to make things financially successful. So I recently asked for a mentor, a coach here at Innovation Guelph, and it has been an awesome experience.
Asking for help, vulnerability, part of every day as a person in business, as a person in general, I think. I've been very lucky. My family was very clear on it is always okay to ask for help. There is never a problem in asking for what you want, and asking for what you need, and asking for information. That should never be a detriment. My sister Lauren has special needs, so I grew up in a household where we had to be very clear and had to be very direct, and if we didn't understand something, because she didn't understand most things, we had to explain them. So it was never a problem to ask for help. So I've been very lucky, and I cannot stress enough how lucky it is to not be afraid to ask for help, because I understand how challenging it is, and I see that happen, but I will ask for help all the time. Jay Reed has been phenomenal in helping me, because he knows, luckily we balance out so well, he knows all the business side, because that's where his degree helps out. He's got an entrepreneurship and a biotechnology degree. He's amazing. And I have a theater history, so all of the questions I have about business, Jay will help me out, and if he doesn't know the answers, then we have so many amazing mentors at Innovation Guelph and at GBEC and at the Chamber of Commerce. Everybody has been very open to saying, if you need help, please come to me. So every time I have a question, and it's daily, I have questions at least once a day. It's never a problem on asking, it's just who can I ask? Which out of the million resources that Guelph offers me, who do I go to for this particular question? And that's been fine so far.
Guelph is really, really good for that.
Guelph's amazing for that. It's coming from Toronto, which should be amazing, and I love Toronto, I don't mean to bog them down, but coming from a place that is so competitive, where everyone's trying to find their own success and not find collective success, asking for help was harder because everyone was like, I can't help you, I'm working on my own thing right now. That was at least my experience. And coming to Guelph, where this community is rising tides raise all ships type of place, where if I'm asking for help and I want to find success, it's cool, let's find success together, what can I do? It's been flooring, it's been baffling, because I like to say, in the 10 years that I was in comedy in Toronto, that equals my first 4 months in Guelph as a professional. I feel like I accomplished more. which is insane.
You know, launching the whole thing, it was really a lot of faith that I asked for from primarily my partner businesses, and I do consider the restaurants and the food businesses and all the other downtown businesses I collaborate with to be my partners in the whole thing. And so I definitely had to ask for a lot of help for that. I, you know, didn't have a lot of seed funding, so lots of sort of favors and it's going to pay off later and I can pay you later type of thing. So that type of thing, definitely, I asked for a lot of help at the beginning.
I suck at asking for help. If I can't figure out what I'm doing, I'll usually get too frustrated and just stop doing it. But there are times where you actually do need to ask for help. And it was probably, I think I was asking for like a friend for a location for a shoot that I really wanted to do. And they were really cool about it. But I know like with the business we have, locations are like prime real estate. So a lot of people don't like handing out like just willy-nilly, like here you go, this is where I shoot the majority of my photographs. So it was probably just a location hunt that I asked for. It makes me like hustle a little harder. You know, like I really want to get my work out there and to show things off. So I think if I'm still a little vulnerable about it, it pushes me to the edge a little bit more. You know,
Vulnerability is such a huge part of being an entrepreneur. Being a good entrepreneur means being authentic, and you can't be authentic without being vulnerable. You're not being true to yourself or to your craft unless you are willing to show vulnerability. No one is 100% powerful. I am nowhere close to being 100% on all the time. My life would be boring if it was that easy. It wouldn't be fun. So working with people at the Making Box, like Tom and Rick and Jay and our interns and our other staff members and all of our mentors, you can't, I'm vulnerable now. I'm trying to word my answer. You won't get help if you're not vulnerable. No one wants to celebrate you if you're not vulnerable. No, like if you think about power, I'm going to use a Harry Potter reference, but like for example, Dumbledore in Harry Potter is very capable, can handle everything, has infinite knowledge and wisdom, but the reason people respect him is that vulnerability and that willingness to say, I'm still learning and there's so much more that I can be and do. And that is the type of people I want to work with. That's why we've been talking about Erin Doherty a little bit. I love Erin so much because she's so clear on her authenticity and her vulnerability. And if you're having a bad day, there's never a problem to voice that. And I found in my student groups, if I'm teaching a class, I'm asking everybody in that room to be vulnerable and take a risk and step forward and try something new. And if I'm not willing to be that person with them, then that's unfair. And as an entrepreneur, you're creating something new and you're putting something out there and you're putting yourself out there, nobody else. You're not doing this for anyone but you. You want to do this, I want to do this. And if I'm not vulnerable, then no one's going to support me because I'm already giving the illusion of I'm 100% ready, I don't need any help, we're good to go, just show up. But without that vulnerability, no one's going to be, there's no intrigue, you know?
I think it's key to just being a person, for one thing, so I hope that, you know, equals being an entrepreneur as well. And again, back to just being nothing less than who you are, and I think who I am is someone who has vulnerabilities, and you know, anybody with passion I think is someone that probably also has vulnerabilities, you know. So I think it's probably key to the makeup of an entrepreneur is having vulnerability.
It was one of the most important things about being a leader is being vulnerable. I think it's about bringing your whole self to the table, and I think that's how you excel at what you do, is being vulnerable and telling your story and letting people know that you don't always know, and letting the world know that you have fears and you're unclear and all the emotions that come with it, about being happy, about being sad, about having failures, about celebrating the failures.